Good morning. We'll get going in a couple minutes. Let's check Firefox. Yep, that's good.
Oh my god, I never thought I'd ever hear MGMT again. But guess who popped up on the Yo Gabba Gabba Spotify station yesterday?
She's late for baby yoga, but she's looking hella fly. Breastfeeding out in public, catching everybody's eye. With her brand new Orbit stroller and her probiotic smoothie. At Whole Foods checking prices on that tasty vegan sushi. With that Adbusters mag and her artisan toast. She's always shopping local and avoiding GMOs. Scoping out the Lululemon infant line on her phone. Using Amazon Mom, cause she's always on the go. Watching girls on HBO really takes her back to the Bushwick parties and the vinyl stacks. She misses Cafe Grumpy and Brooklyn Label. But when she's back in Franklin, she can never get a table. She remembers Luna Lounge where she passed out flyers for an underground band named Arcade Fire. Before Lena Dunham was successful and paid, Hipster Girl was on the L trying to find her way. Well, Hipster Girl grew up and got her MFA.
All right, we are ready.
This may seem like a stupid question, but is breast milk vegan? Can I call you back in a bit? I have to Skype my lactation consultant.
She looks so good when she shops organic, cause she cares about her baby and the future of our planet. But life has gotten hectic now that she's
All right,
become a mom. Though the charter school waiting list isn't all that long, and the Mandarin
I wanted to check a couple things real quick.
a bit of Waldorf and a bit of Montessori. And the rooftop playground has an urban petting zoo with recycled wood chips and a cause her Greenpoint sublet had to go. Bedford got too crowded and she'd seen enough shows. So she married a designer and moved to Park Slope. Found a nice brownstone and they took out a loan. And her Etsy store has been doing great since Ellen Page Instagrammed her diaper bouquets. Before the Starbucks down on Union sold soy lattes. There was Hipster Girl trying to find her way. Well, Hipster Girl grew up and got her MFA. Married with a mortgage and an IRA. Hybrid minivan up in the carpool. But Hipster Mom is doing okay.
Gonna give a fetch on Rust Analyzer just to see if anything's come in that we might want to use. Nope. Okay.
Did you hear Jessica had an elective epidural? It's like she doesn't even care about the health of her newborn. How basic.
No more TV on the radio, it's NPR. Where she heard the interview in her husband's car with her ex-fiance.
All right, that's fine.
But ever since her wedding, it was hard to stay friends. And his Coed hoodie with the dragonfly, she kept it in her closet as the years went by. Who's cried tonight about? Asked Terry Gross.
A girl I knew in Brooklyn, we were once very close.
Well, Hipster Girl grew up and got her MFA.
Let's give a quick search on these because we don't need many of those anymore. Is it just the one? Perfect.
Are you kidding? Of course I'm not gonna let her wear pink. Didn't you see the Huffington Post article on Facebook this morning? Gender roles are so passe. That's why I'm siding with Blossom on the whole Frozen controversy.
Oh, and Mutex. Oh, I already locked outside of there.
It is so sad. There is no way we are ever gonna have a birthday party at SeaWorld ever.
Oh, I see. It had been an option, but in this case, so we changed the type of currency and what currency had inside of it. I think it had been an option inside of there, and we just changed it instead of that to a rough note. So let's do a double check on that. Oh, looks like it didn't commit last time, but it was a none. Okay. All right. What kind of game am I making? Oh, good question. Um, it's actually a multiplayer game. So it has a server that'll be running, and hopefully thousands of people will be able to actually play together. The idea is a bit of a, I don't know, the best way to explain it is think Don't Starve meets Sunless Seas meets 1 Hour, 1 Life. So procedurally generated world. In my case, it's made up of islands. And then you can basically go from island to island. You can go island hopping and collect things that you can use for building and resources and whatnot, and take it back to your home island. Or you could go adventuring, basically taking stuff out. Um, kind of dungeon crawling and whatnot. So we're building up to the first kind of goal, which is being able to do the moving around and collecting resources. Currently, the worlds are procedurally generated. It's very dev artish right now, and we're going to be in the process of adding elements to the different biomes. Right now, there are different biomes, and they have kind of like a different textures on on the world based on which biome it is and what you're currently working on. So if it's grass and whatnot. So that's currently where we're headed. Um, I'm in the process of changing some of the code from using GD script to using Rust. So we've been working on the GD native Rust project and contributing there. Why am I using Vim? Why not VS Code? It's like having a gladiator use their weapon of choice. Why would you give somebody that's great at rapiers a hammer to go bash somebody with? No. You use your weapon of choice. And Vim has been my weapon of choice for 20 years, so I'm okay with it. A good question. I like that question. I think coding is very similar to any sort of like creative endeavor, and you should be good with your tools. So it doesn't make sense for me to hop on the latest and greatest Visual Studio code, as I've seen Visual Studio change over the decades. I actually liked, oh man, what was it, about 23 years ago? There was this really great VS release. And it got kind of bloated. I don't know. VS Code's very thin though, compared to the rest of it. I mean, VS Code's different than like Visual Studio. They're like two separate products. Well, what is this? This is, yeah, we're not going to map this. I didn't even know that you could map. Wow, can you even map? Oh, that's a result. I see. So in this case, we're actually mapping the result and not the, what I thought we were doing was the option. Oh, and thank you for the follow. Blue Rhinoceros. Thank you. And happy Monday. Oh, goodness. I'm not ready for Monday yet. Seriously. Very not ready for Monday. VS Code plus Vim bindings? Oh, can't do it. Nope. Oh, you gotta go. All right, man. Take care. Monday should be illegal, but they would just become the next Sunday. You know, it's almost 2:30 there. Oh wow, you're still not ready for Monday. Oh yeah, Monday they're gonna ask me. So what'd you do on Friday? Like, I don't know. That was oh, I had the day off on Friday. That's right. What'd you do on Thursday? Like, good luck. Um, what did I do on Friday? Let's see. Well, we've been bug hunting for a month or more, so mostly bugs. And let's see, specifically what bugs have I been working on? Oh, React bugs. I get all of the really fun bugs. Actually, somebody new to the team has been getting what we thought were really easy bugs, but it turns out that the bugs that this new person is getting are insanely hard. We'll get on like a on a Zoom meeting or whatever, and it'll take me and her 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours to even figure out what the root of the bug is. After going through a couple of these Zoom sessions with her, it feels like we and we did not. It feels like we purposefully gave her like all of the hardest bugs in the world. Um, but that is not the case. That is absolutely not the case. You know, somebody comes in, you're new to the team, you get a basket of bugs, which happens to be like what everybody's working on right now, just bugs. And oh my goodness, hers are the worst. Feel so bad about that. All right. You know it's bad when Zoom starts up and the other person's already crying. There's no crying in software, people. No crying in software. There is one story that I do tell about crying in software. What is about this dev losing all his week of work and yeah, it getting all wiped out like moments before we had to go. Uh, what? Why are you under your desk? What? Why are you crying? Yeah. Good morning, Acton Dev. Yeah, we were in this place. We were on the back end team. I was a back end engineer there. Currently, I'm like front end engineer. But I love doing back end code, which is part of why I'm doing this. And Dev Spaghetti, how was your stream today? Did you stream this morning? Well, this evening for you. And is it the pronunciation is Spayus? I I have forgotten. I would like to take a note on this one. How do you pronounce your name again? Actually, that would be a great thing to have on your page. I remember you saying that your name was super common where you are. I'll have to look it up. Alright, so this one here, we've got a mutex. We're locking the mutex. It might be poisoned. We're going to map the result. So if it's not poisoned, we're going to change this into something else. However, we're getting a mutex guard. Why? Items and trades can only be used if the trade is... Oh, and in scope. Ah. Do I not have that trade in scope? No DXT. It is there. Alright. I'm trying to get something that's just of type node, which should be available at that point. It says it's unknown. We know better. Well, in this case, let's see. Gotta see. Gotta turn my brain back on. Yesterday I didn't do any coding. And this is a terrible one to get started on. No method named get type node available for this. For mutex guard, yes. And if I rebind it, it's not going to do anything. Why am I doing that? So get typed node. But jump type doesn't... What? File does not exist. Foo.rs. Strange. Let's see restart. Yeah, Conquer of Completion is not happy. That's strange. That's what I get for using the bleeding edge. Oh, jobs -9? No. We're killing -9 that. That is great. Okay. That is so weird. It's capturing all of that. Okay. Goodbye, Vim. Got a couple of them though. Gonna do a quick cleanup. All right. There we go. That's better. All right. Type annotation is needed. Cannot infer type because simple as args. Add child. New scene into. Oh, I see. Because this. Do I have docs open for this already? I think I do. Almost. Add child on node. Good. As args on node. So we could just say it's of type node. Okay, so at this point in Godot, so I've got this little deferred scene switching thing, and I like it. I don't know if this is the way to do it, but it seems to work really well for what I need. So we come through here, and well, so if you don't know, in Godot, you can defer an action. You can say call this thing later, and it's very helpful for cases where you need to kind of evict resources. Right? You need all of these different things to go away. And one of the largest resources that you can have in a Godot game is kind of like the big scene that you're in, right? Your world. So that's what's happening here is that when I switch scenes, we do it in a way that hopefully evicts those elements and lets the system not hold on to any of it. So in this case, let's see, what are we doing? Deferred go to scene. We check to see that we already have a scene because we're swapping them. This expects that one is already loaded. Load the new scene. So resource loader load new ref path. So that would be something that's kind of baked in. And I don't bake in the world geometry or anything like that. That's all generated. So usually this is for like going from the start menu to choosing your character to being in game and back. Once we have the resource loaded. Oh, this is just casting it to a packed scene. And it should have that oh, it's a ref. Okay, sure. We can say it's a ref. That makes sense. Is it a shared ref? All right, that's good for me to know. And now here we get down to here. New scene, assume safe. So we're creating an instance of this scene, so we can attach it to the scene graph. What does instance return? This is going to be on a packed scene instance. Returns a rough node. All right, let's help the compiler out in this case. Well, here's an instance of it. All right, so now we have our node. We get the tree, we flatten it, assuming it's safe. Why would root... Does root return a list of things? It shouldn't. Why do we need flatten? Owner in that case is a node. Getting the tree on the node should just get us a scene graph. Now we have the tree here. We assume it's safe, and we get the root of the tree. So what do we call flatten? Oh, because it's double optioned. Oh, I see. There we go. Cannot infer type for type parameter. Is args, yada yada. Okay. And that's because we're calling into on it. Okay, good. It's going to be the same thing here. Okay, that's nice. What else is down here? Back to where we were. And it's saying types for that can only be implemented if it's in scope. So this get typed node, can it not tell what type that is? Does it not know that scene is a node? Well, it should be like a ref node, right? But it's probably shared. I see. So it's basically saying that I'm trying to call this on the ref. It's not actually doing dereffing this.
And now it's just like, man, you got to have that time where you just like disconnect from this
Where's ref?
routine, just the race.
Super Dialec.
And this is
Hey,
created in my head, you know? But you have to
how are
separate
you?
from it.
So there is an asref on this, but only on certain elements. See, the error here, it wasn't telling me whether or not, hold on, so cargo check on that. It wasn't telling me whether or not it was shared or not. Having a good day, not sure why. Well, it's a Monday. And thank you for hosting. All right, so there's login. No, we're not looking at that one. As Ref, yes. See, this isn't telling me the whole story on Ref. And I think this might confuse people that are coming in new to Rust and Godot. Um, so the type state pattern is very, very powerful here. But in this case, ref defaults to a certain state. So if we look, ref is by default shared, so it's not showing up in the errors. And I think having that in the errors here would actually be very, very helpful to people because you're like, oh, I see, it's shared by default. All right, let's start a little discussion on this. Bugs. Why did I type bugs? I wanted to go to Godot here. No issue. Discussion. Title. We're gonna toss this in there. Yada yada yada. Let's see. The type default on ref node hides. And compiler errors. All right. We have labels for this. Let's see. Question maybe? Let's toss a question on there. Oh, sorry, I just smacked the mic. Um, I'll make the state of the ref state of. Otherwise, they have to know that there's an important. Let's see. So, am I creating Godot bindings at the same time you're building a game? Um, yes. I basically took an aside, and I was I had gotten sick. Decided that I wanted to change my GD script to Rust code. Probably one of those fevered moments, and so got back to streaming. Ended up following through with this. And part of that led me to this project here, which I've been contributing to. So, I've been having some fun here. I mean, the heavy hitters here are really Toast Eater and Carousel. Just Toast Eater tossed down the type state pattern in there that I'd never seen in Rust before, which is just, it's brilliant. Highly recommend reading up on the type state pattern in Rust. And Carafel's been a long time maintainer on this project. Yeah, he stops by every now and then. Actually, last almost 18 hours ago, I guess. Streaming some microbiology stuff, which was really neat. Or microscopy stuff in the Godot Discord channel. It's fun. So really, that's what I've been doing, is trying to contribute to this project because I want to use the next version. It's much, much nicer. It is so much nicer. Let's see, would it be beneficial to not have the default for ref? You could help make the state of ref more obvious to new users. Otherwise, you have to know. Oh, let's see. State of ref. Compiler errors, compiler messages. All right. Let me check my network for a moment. Something's going on. But it's not Tuesday. All the Windows machines aren't Microsoft updates. Oh, looks like it's just me. Okay, I can deal with that. Apparently, a device I use on the network, an iPad, is somebody turned it on the other day. It's it's basically this iPad that had gotten this funny shape to it, so it's now my iPad, and it's fine. I like having it, but the little kids use it most. Um, it's like somebody had stepped on it on carpet, so it kind of tacoed it a little bit. Not very much, but enough that it shorts things out internally if it's not the right temperature. So if it's cold, then something inside is actually touching something else. Whatever. Um, the little kids really don't care about that. They know that it needs to be warmed up sometimes, and they're gonna grow up thinking, for whatever reason, Dad's iPod always needed to be warm. Um, all right, let's give that a preview. Thoughts? There we go. Let's get back to the code. All right, so yes, we know that it is shared and you cannot deref something that is shared and ref counted. So what are we going to do? We're going to go back to the docs. I think we can assume safe on that. Where was it? Oh. So if you look at ref has this really neat sort of explanation here. T is, let's see, you can only dereference it if T is reference counted and access is not shared, or T is manually managed and access is unique. But I think what we have here in the code, let's see, where did scene come from? Oh, this is setting up the deferred. So we're looking at the current scene that we have, and we're going to swap it with a different one. So we could assume safe on that. Then we can call that on there. That maps it to what? Mismatch types and closure argument? Alright, I'm just gonna delete that. Oh yes, and this gives us two elements there. It looks like we're wrapped up. Let's see, one too many. Oh, thought I had gotten rid of that. Okay. No? Expected struck that, found option. So it looks like get type node is actually found here. What does that return? A tier of shared, okay. And this is a ref to that. Apex Plays, good morning. Hope you had a good weekend. I'm losing my types. Everything's unknown. Which is interesting because this get typed node here, if we go look, that's deleted because it cannot tell the type on that. But it should be able to cast. Why does this cast not? No, it should be there. I mean, T, it's T right there. That's it. We're saying it's of type node. Huh. How about me? Yeah, it was rather relaxing. It was nice. It was a long weekend for me. All right. Sorry. I could see in the background that I had a little find window still open, so I had to go close it. A little OCD there. Only 3 hours left. Do this. Mismatch types. The sum. Expected struct tref. Found enum option. Oh, because we're not. That's right. It used to give an option back this, but it doesn't anymore. I mean, we could okay that instead. Yeah, now we have a result. We can say okay. Got okay. There we go. Two errors. Good. Perfect. There. Tuck that over there. Sometimes I forget the tmux commands. Yeah, and so to switch them there, just toss left to right and back and forth. Good, good. All right, let's actually set the pain on that a little better. Let's go 110. Just get it way over there. We'll try just flipping them back and forth if we need to see the error. Yeah, that might work. It's quick to type. All right, which one's next? Login or scene changer? We do the const pointer. This one. Let's do this one first. Oh, the input event one. All right. The trait bound input event from variant is not satisfied. So basically what's happening here is we're trying to listen to a signal, right, an input event element. If you look at Godot, this unhandled input, I believe, is in their documentation. Would be a good check. Godot engine documentation. I think this is a specific function you can override. All right. So yeah, we're just trying to override this. Built-in virtual callbacks like unhandled input, and that should come next. Yada yada. Okay. So this is what we're trying to do. Trying to implement that so that we get the unhandled input. Now our signature looks correct, other than the option. Let's comment that out for a moment. All right, trait bound GD native. Let's look in our docs. I'm gonna pull this one over a little bit. Toss that one out. One. Is it unhandled input? Oh, that's interesting. This is on viewport? Huh. I don't think that we can actually do that here. Yeah, it's not, because, yeah, it's in the export. The export's not going to allow that. Let's give it a check. I want to see the error, big error. The trait bound input event from variant is not satisfied. Okay. Inputs. It's reference counted. Well, let's see. Let's go to the docks. Traits. Let's see, to variant, from variant. Yeah. But we can't implement that on that foreign type.
Fight for your values and fight for your friends. Fight through this blight, find the light at the end. Through the age of the dragon, the people will talk of the day they were saved by a hero.
I'm gonna message the Discord Rust channel. Let's see. Happy Monday. I'm having an issue overriding unhandled event.
Come take a seat and I will recite you a tale.
Toss that in there.
Old adventures spanning both sides of the veil. I knew a champion, we traveled far and wide. We saw so many
The compiler is complaining about. The compiler says that input event does not implement. From variant. I think is that what it was? Yeah, from variant's not satisfied. Okay.
into the deepest roads we ventured in the black. If we had only known what we were bringing back, we felt the fire of every temper, every mage, caught in the crossfire of their politics and
Wait,
rage. Had to pull some strings.
does the input event come from some other type? Let's see, input event. Or excuse me, is it basically a subclass from something else that we could? See, it's a resource of reference in an object. It needs to be a ref input event. All right, let's see. Wrong one. That's interesting. Okay. I want to save that to little migration notes. Excuse me, clearing my throat. Let me get some water. All right. So what's going on now? At this point, we're handling this event that is otherwise unhandled. If let sum, self-seen Azraf, and then what is seen? Option string. Okay. So we get the scene. That's a string. Event question mark. Are we throwing if it was undefined? If it was option? Okay. Now that's going to be. It does seem like there's room for improvement in the generation. Like some of these things that return like a input event key. What is an input event key? Is that also it's a reference counted object. Oh wow. All right. But yeah, there's no way that we could actually do that because it's reference counted, and we wouldn't be able to tell. See, Toastito says maybe see this here. All right. And migration guide. Okay, I'm gonna copy some of my own notes. Copy. Oh, that's interesting. Why in the world? All right, let's actually look at the PR a bit. Um, migration guide. Getting started. That's okay. Work in progress. Yeah. Okay, I think we're gonna jump down a little bit. I've already looked at this. Okay, we can say we looked at that. I don't think this changed since the last time I saw it. Let's see. If anybody sees any grammar or spelling, let me know. We'll make a comment. That looks okay to me. File structure should look like that. I would. So, Toastsuite has this really neat pattern here that wasn't in the documentation before, but I like. It's actually having all of your GD native stuff separate from your project. And I would really like to adjust this project to be like that. That, and I'd also like to use the tool that Caroufel put out there for generating a bunch of these files for us. So we might do that here in a moment. All right, let's go down to the migration bits. Where is that? Oh, here. Okay, yeah, this whole file here, migration guide. In version 0.9, we are attempting to resolve many long-standing problems in the older API. As a result, there are many breaking changes in the public interface. This is a quick note. This is a quick guide to the new API for users that have used older versions. Alright, Rust GD native. Change to this. Yeah, that's there. I almost want like a macro for this. I'm going to copy that actually, and we're going to toss that in a macro real quick. Ulti snippets. Alright. Snippet. Let's see. Use GD. And snippet on that. Right, quit that. Use GD. Boom. Beautiful. See, I've been very specific about what I'm pulling in. Should probably not be. The ref is not nullable on its own. Alright. Separation of core types and native script code. Core types like variant array, color, and dictionary are moved into GD native core types. While native script supporting code like native, okay, and it's moved into native script module, most of the commonly used type re-exported in the prelude. But if you prefer individual imports, the path needs to be changed accordingly. Alright. Generated methods taking objects, variant, Godot string, and are now made generic using infiltrate in argument position. This makes calls much less verbose, may break inference for some existing code. If you have code that looks like this, yes, should change it to this. Isn't this is gorgeous code. This is perfect Rust code here. This is so nice. Like, it was a pain to type this out in the 0.8 version. Being able to write this now, so much nicer. Alright, explicit nulls. A side effect of accepting generic arguments is that inference becomes tricky for option. As a solution to this, the explicit null type is introduced. An explicit null type is introduced for use as an argument method. To obtain a null value, you may either use Godot object null or null null. Huh. I wonder if there's a way to take a none for that instead. Probably not. Alright, so set script none. I should write null null there. Interesting. What does set script take? It takes a reference. A simple Asgard reference. Yeah, so you need conquer types. Okay. Let's see, is it possible to implement instead of null null? Alright. Sorry, not the best content for streaming, I know. But basically, what I'm saying is it possible to implement Asgard reference? Basically, the type that this takes. Right, instead of having to pass null null into that, like they're saying here, still be able to pass none if Asgard reference is supported. Inference. They can't figure it out. Okay. Let's see. I was wondering if we could get rid of an extra migration stuff. All right. There are multiple archetypes for each class. Russ won't know if it's none or of what. Okay. Got it. Basically, it's saying that we can't do this anymore because even if we implemented as arg reference for the option type, it wouldn't know what the sum case would be in the case of none. Hmm. This is arguably less convenient, but passing explicit nulls should be rare enough. Oh, okay. Rare enough a use case that the benefits of having polymorphic arguments are much more significant. Yes. Agreed. Nice. This is a really nice migration guide. All right, let's power through this. In 09, the way Godot objects are represented in the API are largely remodeled to closely match their behavior in Godot. For the sake of illustration, we'll use the type node in the following examples. In 8, bare objects like node are either unsafe or reference counted pointers. Some of the methods require immutable receivers, but there is no real guarantee of uniqueness since pointers may be cloned or aliased freely. Yeah. All right. Having a side conversation at the same time makes it difficult to do this. In 08, bare objects, okay. Reference counted pointers, some methods, mutable receivers, okay. Since the pointers may be cloned or aliased freely. Yes. And that's all changed in Node on 9. The type state pattern, which will be explained later. Now there are 3 representations of Godot objects with different semantics. Yep, ref, tref, and just a borrow. It's a bare reference, reference assumed or guaranteed to be valid, and uncontended during the lifetime of A. Ref node access, persistent reference, stored reference whose validity is not always known, depending on this type state access. And tref, temporary reference, reference assumed or guaranteed to be valid and uncontended during lifetime of A with added type state tracking. Very nice, okay. All right. That's very cool. Now, they did mention that I had an option there before. Wait, hold on. Let me finish reading what they had been saying. All right, I think we'll be all right. Ooh, thank you, Vim. Do log in. And this is where a month ago I decided that I was going to help out with the Godot Rust project because of lifetime issues. Let's see, how can we pick this back up? What is it actually saying? Go check. Can I be shared safely between threads? Which const pointer? Ah, within label. Sync is not implemented for that. Yes. And what were we going to do with that, with label? Because if we come back to the documentation, we look at ref, it's send if access is thread access plus send. And it's sync if it's thread access and sync. So we can do something awful now and make things send in sync by converting them to thread access. Ooh, gorgeous. Okay, let's try that. Want thread local. Okay, so we're going from shared. Assume thread local. We'll toss one of those on there. That's going to be this. We'll get that, assume that it's thread local. Oh, but it's not manually managed. Oh, I like that. The reference must be unique. Do that, okay. So what I'm trying to do here is when somebody clicks the login button, okay, we're going to, let's see, does this get moved? Yeah. So in this case, we set the text there. That's fine. We get the address that we want to be able to pass in, okay? Connect address. Actually, that probably doesn't even need to be out there. That could be inside. Okay. Once we have that address inside of here, we toss up a one-shot channel, send to our network system what our message is, and then we await the response in the result of the one-shot. If everything's good, we transition to the welcome scene. Otherwise, we call deferred on this and set the text to something awful. Okay, like you couldn't log in or something. All right, fix me there. Love note to future Ben. All right, now one option would be to get this again later if we need it. In order to do that, we would need to have owner passed in. There's a little bit of a funny condition here where if somebody clicks login and it takes them, let's say 5 seconds for the message or the error to get back, but they hit escape or something in the meantime and get off of the login screen. Actually, can they even get off the login screen? I don't think so, but So I either need to make sure that this lives long enough or something else does. Or I come up with a way that can get these again. Let's see. Yes, we need some way to get to the tree. How do we get back to owner? So our manager, scene manager, has a reference to the current scene, no matter where it is. We've got this whole one cell set up with arc mutex, ref, node, yada yada. And if we look through here, this thing is set up so that it always knows what the current scene is. Always. We could ask this for a node in the scene, for one of the UI elements. So we can say, scene manager, give me such and such. And we could do that from inside the spawn. So instead of doing the error message there, cannot infer appropriate lifetime due to conflicting requirements. Do we use login? Was it for self? Ah, that's why it's outside. Yeah. Guess we were referring to self there. And why couldn't this? Oh, because it's a control. It's bound to that. Oh, lovely. We've gone on to the next stage of compiler errors. Yes, red errors, down. Not a lifetime errors. Wow, a bunch of these things do not need to be mutable. Or so it tells me now. Yeah, some of these, fine. Yeah, that interior mutability changed this quite a bit. Let's pick off some of the easy ones real quick. Unused variable, spawn loop, sure. We'll be back, login, don't worry. Alright. Got all the easy ones. Scene manager and local storage. Call to unsafe function is unsafe and requires unsafe function or block. Okay. All right, now back to our old friend, Scene Manager. Interesting. Cannot borrow owner as mutable as it's behind shared reference. Invoke deferreds. Ah, it takes a mutable self. The trait bound mutable is not satisfied for shared. I see. All right, so in this case, let's go back to our table. We have something that's shared, and we want something that is mutable. I invoke deferred. Oh, that's my stuff. Why did I have this? Oh, because I didn't like how silent those things were. If you tried to call a function that didn't didn't have that excuse me, if you tried to call a function that didn't exist, it wouldn't whine about it. That's why I did that. Okay, so let's remove these. Okay, let's change the type of that. Mutable, delete word, delete word, delete word. All right. Scene manager, go to. Cannot return value referencing temporary value. Returns value referencing data owned by the current function. Oh, because we assume safe on this. And we have the tref here. Okay. Just change the way this is set up. I wonder if there's still a way to keep that there. No, just challenging is just thinking about Rust. Is this because it doesn't know what the lifetime is for this tref? So I think assume safe takes a lifetime, A and R. See where R is self and then A is the lifetime of the result. So maybe we could give the lifetime of something else. How do you point to the lifetime of something else? This current scene is more or less always there. Let's see. We'll just change this so let's not do any funny tricks. I mean, we could try to do something like static or something else there. But that just... No, expected at least one type. Okay, we're not going to do the map in there anymore. Let's take that out. Toss this over here for a moment. All right, at this point, current scene. We had been getting the scene manager out. Get, expect that, yada yada, fine. Let's change this to just scene. It's not a scene manager yet. Assume safe on that with, toss that on there. Okay. This whole section's unsafe. That's fine. Does it have to be? Ooh, that's a good question. That doesn't. We could toss in unsafe in there. Mutable static is unsafe. Requires. I thought there was a way to change that on there. This is a once cell. Oh, we're on docks. We're not local. Okay. Once cell. Yeah, we can get mutable. I don't think that's unsafe. Okay. Take. Why is it calling take on that? Oh, there's a take. And that requires a mutable self. Well, we could. Oh, and so does this one. Oh, interesting. Getter and init. Bum bum bum. We can call set on it. All right. So what is it doing here? If we call take on that, why were we calling take? Is that to empty it? Takes the value out of there, moving it to an uninitialized state. All right, which is fine. We could do basically the same thing if we say get. So we're looking to panic. Returns none if this. I see. We want to invert the result though. We want to invert the option. Do we expect this to be empty later? Okay, there's current state. There. And here we set it. Expect. Okay, now this set here returns okay if it was empty and error if it was full. In which case we probably want to do a get mutable or something. because we are inside of deferred go to scene. All right, let's invert this. Get. Now we have to invert the option. Okay, because it must be set when changing scenes. So actually let's go look at option for a moment. We expect none. Oh, nightly only. Transpose? No. If current scene get dot is none, we'll panic. Now this one's going to bail because we're not getting a mutable reference to this and changing the internal bits. Let's fix that. This should be more current scene dot get mutable. We already know that's already set. We'll just unwrap it. Oh, same thing. Whatever. Should not be empty. Current scene is equal to that, and then what is pointed to by current scene is going to be this. Ah, it's not mutable. I'm trying not to make that mutable. Which is silly because yeah, I thought that maybe we could do it this way. I understand that set, we'll set it once, that's it, one and done. In which case we could toss an option in there, but no, it'd still need to be mutable, wouldn't it? Alright, we're going to undo this. We're going to go back with the mutable version. It was a nice attempt trying to get rid of that. But for the sake of this, I don't think it's enough. Okay, that needs to live for as long as the reference that this returns does. So now we have it in scope. It'll live just longer than this. Oh, Rust, are you teasing me? Is that compiling again? Yep, we got rid of that. Let's do a little cleanup. Type name never used. Yes, you're right. On login connect, never used. That's fine. We're coming back to that. Disconnect, not used. Fine, fine. Oh, the result on these is not used. No, we're gonna leave that for a minute. What's up, Raj? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I know, right? Oh. So at this point, we could actually try running the code. It builds. Cargo build. I've got a plethora of warnings, which is fine for now. Those will come next. Actually, I think they're just stepping stones. Because this is only half implemented. Your code jogs at best, yes. Uh, well, yeah. I mean, mine just got dissolved. So this past month has been taking the code. Actually, what did we do this past month? This past month, we came over here into this project and helped over here. Oh, look at that, 96% complete now. Huge number of things done. This has been awesome. So we came over, helped work on this so that we could get some of the new borrowing rules. This is just such a nicer interface to Rust, to Godot now. The 0.8 was very, very unsafe. I mean that in there were a lot of unsafe keywords. Not in the way that it was implemented. The new one makes you think a lot more about safety, which is great. It was 380, number 389? No, 380. Maybe it was 318. Anyhow, no, there's just so many. But we worked on this for this past month, getting elements cleaned up in there. Now we're actually trying to use it. So this is all in an attempt to convert my GD script into Rust code. Well, that built. Okay. That means wow, I wasn't even planning on like wiring up Godot to OBS today. Let me start it up. Whoa, it's all black. Hold on a sec. We will fix that. And there it is. All right. Gonna give it a resize real quick. There we go. Now we can come back to Godot. All right. So this is Legacy, and we just built. See some of. Hold on. It's been a while since I've been in here. Scenes. Let's go into scenes. Go into login scene. All right. Now on the right here, you'll see that there's this login.tscn file, which represents the UI piece here. And then just above that, there's login.gdns, which is GD native. And this here is bound to a library that we just compiled, a Rust library. Let's just make sure this is wired up. Yep, so we have this dylib here. Target debug. Yep, we made the debug version. All right, let's. Oh, I'm a little nervous hitting that button. Okay, there we go. I can't see that because it all changed. No, not that one. Where is it? Where's legacy? There it is. Now you can see that there. I'm gonna move that down left. All right, make it a touch bigger. Huh? Login. Oh, scene switching worked. It worked the first time. Thank you, Rust. Okay, I don't even have the game server running. This was unexpected. Okay, let's get to the game server. I feel like Batman. To the game server. Legacy server. Legacy. First, yeah, ran. We had a bunch of code that was written in Rust, but using the 0.8 version. Oh, but you wrote position them. Oh, oh, that's rough. All right, we didn't start up any Jaeger or any of the other stuff. Uh-oh, is this gonna blow up? Okay, I'm not sure where all of these are coming from. Native script condition, non-script data is true. I'll have to look into that later. All right, take care, Top Brush. We do have development set to true. That's on there. I'm gonna log in. What's the debugger screaming about? Error. Ah, incorrect type passed to property, invalid variant type. Expecting Godot string got nil. All right, where was that? Oh, the property accessor. Got nil. All right, what property would that have been? Do I need to set those up again? So let's look at some of the scenes. Bootstrap appears to be working, so let's look at the bootstrap scene. Right, this is just an empty scene when the game starts, so that it can bounce and start. It bounces us to the scene switcher. Um, we need to start up somewhere, and this is it. Now, if we inspect this, the next scene here is set to null. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, in this case, next scene should be scenes. Login. So the first place you go is login. And then if we save that. Oh, it's still null though. Let's check on that. That should be in Bootstrap. All right. So next scene by default is that, which is fine. Now we have this class builder. This class builder set next scene is there. Get next scene, pardon, is there, and set is here. Now the type hint we gave it is a file type hint. This set next scene. Should this be a ref? Wait. Get next scene and set next scene. These should be operating on Godot strings, shouldn't they? All right, I know that these two types are wrong. Um, all right, so there we have that and that. And then with the setup, what does it want here? Cargo build. Oh, cargo. I should have done a check. Expected that, found that. Interesting, so it actually does expect a string. Required because of the, let's see, required because of the requirements on impl get map. Huh. And where is that? Oh, I have a getter new. All right, let's check this. Let's see, Godot debug. Self, that next scene. There we go. Oh, references. Okay, take two. There we go, cargo check. Wow, in 0.9 seconds. Stop it, run it. Oh, I didn't even mean to do that. I meant to come back here in this. Interesting, the tie pins are not working anymore. I think I need to restart Godot, but from a terminal. Let's do that. First, go to where we need to be. Go to Rust. I close the last one. Forgot to do that. Save and close. Update placeholder condition not scripted as true. We could go look and figure out what that is. First, let's go back to the scenes, bootstrap. This one. That's strange. Why? Where's our scene? Oh, there's our scene. Click this. Got that. Takes us here. GD native. Yes, yes. It's all fine. Come back to the scene. Click on this. Our type is gone. Our little property is missing. Oh, look at this. Oh, and actually, was that showing Godot? Looks like it. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Let's get that thing running again. Gonna go project list and back. That looks good. We're in the bootstrap scene. Click here. Ah, next scene is now there. So something must have crashed. And when we change the value here, look over there, choose something, scenes, login, login. Choose that one. Oh, and now you're gonna work, huh? All right, and why is this actually panicking? That should not be getting run yet. Save that. So why is this getting called more than once? Bub function and init. All right, who calls you? Oh, oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that. Um, well, that was an awkward place for that. Let's use one of the other macros. Function init, say GD native init. That's going to take some type, which I don't remember at the moment. Foo, which is that. What was it? Options, info. You're going to be down here. Then we'll pass that function in GD native init there. Yes, tell us what we got running. Ah, one of those. Thank you. Let's pass that through. We're going to do that so that the other place can actually make a determination whether or not it was bad to get reinit. It looks as though, actually, I don't know. How often does that happen? That happen all the time? Because of these statics here. When we're in the editor, if this is getting reinitialized more than once, like constantly, then we want to be a little bit more forgiving about it. If it's the other one, though, I'll have to do something else. I wonder if we can shut down a runtime like that and start it up again. Might be something needed. Oh, yes. We're going to give it a build because now we're using one of the other hooks. I'm not sure how often that hook gets called. In fact, I put a little debugging in there. Actually, we can tier count because it gets called so early. We can do an ePrint line. Yep. Even with the misspelling, we're going to leave that. Don't care. Okay. Give that a build. Good. Now to Godot. Actually, back here. How do we know if it reloaded? So if I go to one of the scenes, say login. Let's click on something that might have a property. Username, maybe? No. Hmm. Give that a save. No, I can't actually see the terminal from there. Okay, now I can't tell that it actually reloaded. loaded that. See, I thought that we had this thing set up so that it would reload. Reloadable on. If the library defines tool scripts that run inside of the editor, reloadable must be false. Okay. That's funny. All right. Let's go back to the scene here. Next scene. We get this. Just try that again. Log in TSCN. Fine. I'm not getting my print lines either. Project list. Save and close everything. All right, now we have these two elements. Good, good. File system, scene, bootstrap. All right, and that's still set, which is good. Oh, look at that. And native script init got called again, but not GD native. Oh, it did twice. Okay, okay. It did. That's what we wanted to know. So if that's the case, yeah, if that's the case, we're gonna have all of our kind of funky singletons be a little bit more lenient with this. We could wipe them out on init. That would need to be mutable. If info dot is editor in editor, then we'll go ahead and do a check here. Actually, let's not do that here. Let's not muddle these two things. Leave that as it should be. Go back to where it's called. And just add some cute logic in here. Why did I say cute? So if it's in the editor, then RT reset and scene manager needs a reset. Okay, let's do that one in RT. Initialize info. Runtime dot take. We don't need that there. Used by the editor. used when in the editor to do something to. I don't know if this is the right way to do this, and whether or not this runtime is going to stay around even when the other element is getting unloaded. Probably. So we got this singleton thing here. Let's load once. Only one copy of the library, and each script that references the library will share static data like static or global variables. Yes, this is what I want. Okay. So we'll take there. I'll do that there. Now let's go into Scene Manager, toss in one of those things. Oh, I missed it. Scene as. Let's do the right one. Current scene. Wait, static? What? Yeah, this one's static, but wasn't the other one? Oh, it is also having the same issue. Spawn, though, we will do in here. Good. All right. This one should also be unsafe. Yeah, I don't think that callback's that's gonna care. All right. We'll give it a build. That's built. We'll come back in here. We might need to, let's see, native script and init. Okay. Yeah, it did it. So if we hit enter, we tab over and then we tab back, it reloads that thing. That's a neat way of reloading. Okay. To get rid of the old one, let's do quit project list. Reload that. Okay. So I did it once. Good. Tab back into it. Tab back, and we did it one more time. Good. We'll see if this helps. Because I think those elements are keeping it from going away somehow. Those statics. Actually, we probably want to do that on unload. Yeah, put that in the wrong spot. So here we'll have init, then we'll have gnative terminate. And in that case, we can just do this all the time. It doesn't have to be specific to one thing or the other. Info. Terminate info. There it is. Some debugging. Take that out of there. Toss that over here. Okay, now let's register that function. GD native terminate. Oh, is it not being passed in by reference? Why did I pass that one in by? All right, let's go fix that. Oh, I closed the other. Let's go in here. GD native terminate. Let's fix that. We're going to pass in a reference to that instead, which means that this information is wrong as well. That should be borrowed. That should be borrowed. Good. All right, now we can submit that little API parity cleanup. Sure. Rebase dash pop that. Status git. Okay. Parity for init macros. Oh, there's no need to force with lease on that one. Okay, we're gonna do PR. Might need to change the docs too after that. Let's see, let's toss some of our code in there for that. I didn't realize that was on 3. Okay. Oh, what did it say? Good. Okay. Yeah, that needs a full test though. Need to make sure I didn't break any of the other tests. Okay. Oh, are both of these building it? Oh, funny. Let's see, why wouldn't we want them to have, like, why is the other one borrow? Because there's things in there that they should not own? Currently, there's only a Boolean. Why is the other one borrow? I mean, why aren't we going the other way? Because they do not own the reporting function. All right. All the tests passed. Oh my goodness. Test, cargo build that. On the integration test too before hitting submit on that PR. Okay, so there we have this. And what if we change this a little bit? So we can tab back and forth. We can go and we can see that, hey, we're getting these elements called native script init, GD native init. We're not getting terminate because it's not reloading, is it? Why is it not reloading? See, that should just reload. It really should. And it's not for some reason. Load once. Did I butcher this? That's there. Hmm. I wonder if it's because of this. The load once bit. I doubt it. If the library defines tool scripts that run inside the editor. Oh, interesting. Reloadable must be false, otherwise the editor will attempt to unload the tool script while they're used and crash. But we're not doing tool scripts, right? Like this isn't, is this a tool script? Let's close some of those. Okay. I'm going to ask in Discord for a moment. I'm going to say I'm still not getting the library to reload on OS X. Looking at the reloadable. So looking at the reloadable info in Godot on when it will not reload, it says that it will not reload if you have tool scripts. Are the, let's say, a class builder. Let's say a property builder. Are the property builder getter setters considered tool scripts? All right. Oh, it's probably getting late over there. Because would I forgo this? Yes, I would forgo that. All right. Well, we built that. Let's reload it. Project, back to the project list. Reload the binary. Scene, bootstrap. Here we go. We have that. We'll check to see if it's properly reloading. Now we have GD native terminate. Good. Let's make a change to the script that we can easily see. Just make that caps. All right. We go back and forth to load and unload. We still have the lowercase terminate. It's not reloading it. Huh. We could try getting rid of that to see if it helps. Let's go exploring. Oh, first. Okay, that build. This is back into the GD script Rust project at the moment. Do that slash application. Oh no, didn't mean to do that. So we're in test. We need to run Godot on this project here. Path project. That should be the test project. What? Fine, run. And this looks good. Okay, I'm gonna kill that Godot instance. Send out the PR. Let's take a look at the book. All right. So that wouldn't change the book at all. Where do we use class builder? Class builder. Scene changer has a class builder. Scene manager has a class builder. And why do I have bootstrap? Is it just for this? And which script does it have? It has a bootstrap instead of scene changer. Okay, what is the difference between Scene Changer and Bootstrap? They look very, very similar. As an optional string, that's built up. It just doesn't. I see it needs that. Needs to be needs to have change scene wired up to it. Okay, let's get rid of Bootstrap and use this. So let me check my calendar. All right, we're not too bad. Okay. We're gonna do a couple things here. First, we're gonna separate the Rust from the Godot. Legacy Legacy Rust. I don't know. That's a terrible name. All right, now we're gonna go back into Legacy and start to push stuff out over there. Okay, so move cargo everything to Legacy Rust. Remove session vim. Oh, I should have used git move on that. We'll do that in the next ones. Okay, we'll make that directory there. Git move source star.rs / legacy rust source. Ah, okay. That's gonna shake some stuff up there. Legacy rust cargo build. But it should make the Godot project a little nicer. The other thing I'd like to try is if we go back over here to cargo, Godot Rust helper. Interesting, I hadn't seen this before. that the same one as? Oh, that's a different one. Interesting. I gotta share that link in Discord. Godot project directory. All right, let's try this out. Beliar. Beliarl. Welcome. Gonna add that to my project. Oh, it's still chewing away. All right, we're going to close all of these. Buff do bd. Yep, that's why. Quit all. Cd dot dot. I'm splitting the Rust code out of my Godot project. Sure, we'll nvim that. Let's just copy paste that. Oh, that's build.rs, not build.sh. Okay. ./legacy. There we go. So it'll scan that and do that, then it'll build. What does this do though? Need to add that as a development. A cargo add that dash dash dev. Could not be found in registry index. Ah. Foiled by hyphens. Kebab case versus snake case. But it's there. Look at that. It's right there. Did I paste that wrong? Cargo add. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Let's see. This is going to be 010. So Beliar, we are currently working in, well, separating them. We got it to build and run. I was having some issues with it not reloading the certain parts of this. So I was trying to maybe poke it a little bit and see if it'll start reloading. Oh, how do I do that? Wrong one. Build a RS. No. Scan crate. Not found in the scope. Is it because I did? It's right here. Okay, let's just copy that, paste that. Then I literally copied this code. Is that because it's not marked as a dev dependency? How do we do that again? Um, dev dash dependencies. All right. There we go. Still not there. Genie native project utils. So it really thinks that it can't find it. Cargo clean. Cargo build. Yeah, why? Clippy test. Post run. Complete job. Hmm. I mean, I could just point to it. This seems odd. Generate and scan. I mean, that's just not even possible. There's a way to alias these, isn't there? Because it's not saying that I couldn't find this piece. Um, oh, I meant to say as. Let's see, how do we give it a new name? All right, next one. Hmm. Testing a bug fix. Okay, yep. All right, let's just try the path. I'm really at a loss as to why this is broken. Build a RS. That should just work here. Like if we comment this stuff out. That should just work, right? This is not doing anything special in that. It's taking its sweet time. All right, I need to swap these things real quick. Hmm, it's going. All right. Well, I'll reach out today, see if I can get a handle on this. Um, yeah. Thank y'all for hanging out. We're gonna raid Jitspo today. This is get into some more Godot magic. Not rusty, just Godot. Um, oh, there it goes. Let's see, on our way out. Because I expect this to actually build. It's just not going to have an issue with the build.rs file. Come on. Come on, build. All right. Well, until next time, y'all. We're going to get going.